right. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good week thus far. Hope everything's going well for you all. With that, we're just waiting for more people to show up. So, anyways, we're, as I said, just giving people a chance to get in here. So, as soon as they do, we'll get into it. Um, yeah, it looks like we got a little overcast going on right now. So, that's why I got the light on in the room here, but it's not too bad. Uh, let's see now. So, today being the 15th, so a couple of days away from St. Patrick's Day. Get along, gang, get along, gang. Each one's are special in their own way. Coming about, get along, gang, get along, gang. Well, hello. How you doing today, my friend? Let's see. I guess somebody's just had somebody pop in, and you can like and share. Hey, toys lurking. Okay. And I do appreciate. Thank you for the like and share there. Do appreciate that. Hope you're having a good day this week. Good a good week thus far, Toys. Hopefully everything's going well for you and your family. Um, we're just, as I said, just giving people a chance to get in here. So, and as always, if anything comes up in the articles that catches your interest, if you feel like you want to comment on it, um, feel free to do so. Probably in a few minutes here, we'll probably, I'll go into what we will be talking about as soon as, depending upon where we're at. So, yes. Get along, gang, get along, gang. Each one's so special in their own way. When you're coming about the get along, gang, get along, gang. Get up with the get along, gang. Everyone is okay. Get up with the get along gang. Oh, get up. Let's see now. What else can we sing here? They're dashing, they're daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Come on, Scooby Doo, I see you. Pretending you got a shiver. And you're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. You know you got a mystery to solve, so Scooby Doo, be ready for your act. Don't hold back. And Scooby Doo, you're gonna have yourself a Scooby snack. That's a fact. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We're ready and you're willing, and we can count on you. Be Scooby Doo. You know we'll catch that villain. Hey Scooby, where are you? Scooby Dooby Doo, looking for you. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? All the stars are here waiting for you. Couldn't have a show without ya. Scooby, Scooby-Doo. Hey, Scooby, where are you? I'm over here. Let's see now. What else? When you wish you were there, just close your eyes and make believe, and you can be anywhere. My bed, my bed, my bed, my bed. Babies, 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 goo. Let's see now. Let's see what else. Let's see. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time. From the town of Bedrock, they're the place right out of history. That's right, with the family down the street. Rudolph, courtesy of Fred's old heap. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time. A dabba do time. We'll have a gay old time. Meet George Jetson. Do 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 do. His boy Elroy. Do 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 do. Daughter Judy. Do do do. Jane, his wife. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Let me see now. Come break the chain. I don't wanna leave. You don't wanna die. Every time you go, and there you go. Bye bye. Aroroshite. Everyone a day. Granted, I know I don't know the exact word, but then again, I don't know Japanese either. Anyways, okay, so let's see. Of course, we'll kind of go over what we're going to go over tonight at the 8 minute mark here. We're just past 7.5 minutes here, coming up on 7.5 minutes rather. So all right. So anyways, let's see. Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Fooey, quicker than a human eye. Pop, 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 water. Pop, 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 pop. All right, so we're at the 8 minute mark now. Okay, so here's what's on tap for tonight. We kind of got 5 stories to go over. One of them is kind of follow up to something we talked about last night, but we got like 3 comic stories, an anime story. I already know about the anime story we'll probably be covering, and then pro wrestling story. So basically, the 3 comic stories we're gonna look at include Gabe Elty explaining a little bit more why he left DC Comics. Writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Jorge Jimenez are coming back to work on Batman for DC, and then let's see, what was the other comics related one? Oh yeah, and it looks like here, according to this other article, DC may be looking to make a major overhaul of the DC universe. So that might be coming up here. Also, of course, do a little follow up on the Damon Mill story as it came out yesterday. We'll be going over the Bounding into Comics article, of course, on it. That his accuser has now rescinded the accusations. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll go over the article and, of course, talk about that. I know Yellow Flash did a video on it earlier. Tug was doing a live stream on it a little while ago as well. And also just kind of another follow-up story following up on the passing of Scott Hall. Do that. And And so with that, now with all that being done and said, let's go ahead and get started on the articles here. Okay, so here's the first one we're gonna talk a bit about, and of course, if want to see if we can get some more people in here. You can share the stream, see if we can get some more people in here. That'd be appreciated if you haven't already. Um, so here we go, and yeah, we don't need to see that one. Former Superman colorist Gabe Eltabe says another reason he left DC was racism, in quotes, and treating people of color like quote unquote victims. Our article by J.B. Augustine, uh, published earlier today. So here we go. So, colorist and creator Gabe Eltabe is disclosing more reasons why he left DC Comics last year. Overall, his self exile was due to the modification of Superman's motto that replaced the American way with "for a better tomorrow." Now that Clark's bisexual son Jonathan is wearing the cape and fighting climate change. Of course, we know what's been going on with this. This is from Superman Center Kal-El number 6. Supposed issues there. Oh God. Okay. That doesn't look very pleasing. Um, Reacting to the casting of an actress of color as the redheaded Carrie Kelly in the CW's Gotham Knights pilot, Eltabe revealed he also parted ways with the declining publisher because of, in quote, racism and tokenizing of non whites as quote unquote victims that always need help. Yeah, that's one of the things that gets on my nerves too. This whole SJW movement is this just victimization of people just for political clout. It's kind of stupid. Um, Quote, another reason I left at DC Comics, he tweeted, unquote, um, quote, the racism from leadership treating us people of color. Now, from what I remember reading, Gabe is, I believe, I'm not sure if he's of Middle Eastern or Armenian descent, but he is a person of color. I don't know if it's Armenian or somewhere in the Middle East. So, but anyways, quote, the racism from okay, like we were victims to be saved. Yes, he's arguing the point that a lot of these liberals, a lot of these, many people call them white liberals, act like they're the great white hope, and I think that does actually get on people's nerves a lot. And released the name of the accuser next day. Retracted victim. All right. A&M released the name of the accuser next day. Retracted victim silenced. Yeah, I know Yellow Flash had some choice words on it. I'm sure Tug did too. It's and one of the points Tug has been made. Yeah, guys can't be victims. No, Me Too is just a women's movement. You know, you have to protect the woman, as it were. You know, males can't be victims of sexual abuse. No. the whole point of this whole situation with in this specific case with David Mill, it's more the hypocrisy than anything else. You know, by his own by his own supposed belief system, Damon Mills should be canceled. Yet he's not going to get canceled um, because he's in the right club but anyway, we'll talk more about that a little later when we actually go through that article, go through the Bounding into Comics article. Anyways, getting back to this one. Okay, El Tabe, who is okay, I stand correct, who is North African and son of a Libyan immigrant. Okay, thanks for the clarification there, Bounding into Comics. I knew it was something like that. I knew it was from that region of the world. That's what I remembered. But added a personal story from 2016, right after the presidential election. Quote, day after Trump won, an editor emailed me saying something like, um, in smaller, in single quotes, people like her would protect people like me, unquote, he wrote. Oh, brother. I wonder if I could see Gabe probably feeling very insulted by that remark. Like, first off, why would I need protecting? And two, how are you going to protect me? You little twit. Ah. With three laughing, teary eyed emojis, he concluded his post wondering, quote, how are you going to protect me? I voted Trump, unquote. Oh boy. Ah. And here's something. I guess he's referring. This is from the tweet on the one of the comments, banning in the comment. DC race swaps another redhead. Nia Robinson cast as Carrie Kelly in CW's Gotham Knights. Yeah. Disgusted by alterations made and creative liberties DC has taken with the Man of Steel recently, he not only bolted from DC, but left publisher Jim Lee a long, passionate message as to why. Quote, you probably hate me and think I am a fool, but in brackets, I couldn't stay silent any longer, unquote, Eltabe said. Quote, your parents decided to immigrate to America, Jim, unquote. He continued, quote, this country and its heritage and the blood spilt gave you everything you have, not South Korea. Even if the decision to remove the credit American culture had in creating Superman is out of your hands, it is so ungrateful for you to go along with it. Go along with this, unquote. There's a picture of President Donald Trump. Official portrait of President Donald J. Trump, Friday, October 6, 2017. L-Tape didn't disclose what Jim Lee sent back to him, but he made it clear he didn't want his fans or anyone going after Lee out of respect for the publisher's privacy and that of his family. L-Tape would rather comic readers and his followers help him restore American way, quote unquote, principle to the industry. To do this, he is producing a graphic novel christened appropriately Truth, Justice, American Way. Sounds cool. And I think he was on Ethan's channel promoting that book that he recently. The fully backed, the Indiegogo supporting this project still has 9 days left and is accepting more backers. The quote 64 pages of full color action and adventure unquote with quote heroes you can believe in unquote ships worldwide and has several tiers of perks. So you ought to be able to get your copy today. The crowdfunding campaign currently has raised $37,397 from 568 backers. And there's the kind of headline right there: Truth, Justice, American Way. The David Williams, Gabe Eltabe, and Gary Martin. These are the. What do you make of Eltabe's accusations against DC Comics? Will you? Well, I think it goes to what everybody's been talking about with DC being dead company, standing for now, dead company. So that's probably where it's going, anyways. Well, Toys, I know you're still in here, so would you like to say anything in regard to that article I just read? Regarding Gabe Eltabe's viewpoint? Give you a sec to see if you'd like to respond to that. If not, I'll move on to the next article. Hmm. All right, it would appear. Okay, I'll move on to the next article then, as it would appear. Guess you don't have anything to say about that particular article. So let's move on to the next one here. Let's see. Okay, so the next article here, writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Jorge Jimenez team up for Return to Batman in July. Article by J.B. Augustine published earlier today. DC has announced the next creative duo that will be in charge of Batman starting this summer, and it's a pair familiar with the Dark Knight. Excuse me a moment. It sounds like Chloe's starting to bark again. I'll be right back, guys. Just gotta go take care of the dog. Right, sorry about that. But anyways, glad to be back here. Let's let's continue with this article. The company broke the news to retailers at Comics Pro 2022 that Batman the Night scribe Chip Zdarsky and Joker War artist Jorge Jimenez are joining forces for quote unquote failsafe, a 6-issue arc taking over after Joshua Williamson's tenure ends. Quote, to say that that is a dream job is an understatement, unquote, Zdarsky said. Quote, writing Batman, carving out his terrifying future has been so much fun, and getting to do it with Jorge, um, the perfect modern Batman artist, is almost overwhelming. Failsafe is just the beginning. Jorge and I are taking Bruce Wayne to some really wild places, and we hope everyone enjoys the ride. Unquote. But returning to Batman is something really special to me. Unquote. Adds Jimenez. Um, quote. Doing this with Chip, one of the best writers in comics, is simply the best possible as simply the best possible scenario at this point in my career. Chip's writing is inspiring me to create a new narrative and aesthetic, and I can't wait to show Batman fans something different from my previous run. Wanted the Batman Volume 3, number 112, Fear State 2021 DC Comics, variant cover by Jorge Menez and Tomiyu Mori. DC offered up a slight tease of what to expect from Failsafe, which begins with the oversized 125th issue of Batman going on sale in July. And it includes the appearance of the scene of a mysterious quote enemy from Batman's past unquote out to end him like all the rest. Quote along with Tomiyu Mori on colors, Failsafe in smaller quotes is the team's 6-issue debut story arc. Unquote said DC. Quote Bruce Wayne is having nightmares of a future he can't stop, but he may not make it to that future as a startling enemy from Batman's past. It has one relentless goal to end Batman, no matter what it takes. Unquote. Batman number 125 will come out with the main wraparound cover by Jimenez and variant cover by Inyuk Lee and Simone DeMeo. Um, but that wasn't all comic retailers were treated to during the Comics Pro conference. Look, you got a picture of Flash and Aquaman here. Aquaman and the Flash, Void Song number 1, DC Comics. Aquaman and the Flash team up to take on a threat from outer space in the 3-issue miniseries Aquaman and the Flash, Void Song by Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, Vasco Georgiev, and Rain Barreto. Beings descend from the heavens, quote, in monumental ships like floating cathedrals, unquote, with one goal, quote, drain the earth of all its kinetic energy and leave it a lifeless husk, unquote. Sounds similar to Galactus, doesn't it? From Marvel Comics fame. I think he does pretty much the same thing. Stuck in the Speed Force and exploring the deepest undersea ravine imaginable, the Flash and Aquaman avoided the aliens' initial strike, playing a musical note that froze everyone on Earth in place. This leaves them as the only two who can stop what's coming. That DC Mech. Mech number one by Kenny Porter and Valdemir Rivas. See. And of course, if you have anything to say on the article here or anything we're talking about within the article, feel free to chime in. It's always welcome. On sale starting in late June with a 56-page issue, Void Song will run through August and then be collected into a paperback in October. DC is also dipping its toes into mecha anime with DC Mech, headed by the team of Kenny Porter, Flash the Fastest Man Alive, and Valdemir Rivas, Batman Urban Legends, to usher in the quote dawn of a brave new mechanized DCU unquote. In a cross between Pacific Rim and every new god story ever, gigantic mechanized parademons from Apocalypse invade Earth and devastate the Justice Society of America, bringing an end to the Age of Heroes. Stockpiling mech, quote unquote, battle suits began and spawned new protectors in the event Apocalypse returns. The two greatest are Flash and Batman, but when Kal-El, the last son of a dying world, crash lands on Earth with his own suit, he presents a new challenge. Issue number 1 out of 6. So it sounds like they're taking a slight. Sounds like right there they're taking a slight deviation on the classic origins. You know, it sounds like another multiverse they're building here. Issue number 1 out of 6 of DC Mech lands in stores on July 26th. Lastly, DC is releasing a middle grade book in November, continuing the story of Wonder Woman and Nubia. By Shannon and Dean Hale. Diana and Nubia, princesses of the Amazons, Victoria King. Diana and Nubia, Princess of the Amazons, a follow up to Diana, Princess of the Amazons by writers Shannon and Dean Hale and artist Victoria Ying. I thought it was King, my bad. Introduces Princess Nubia, daughter and niece of Themyscira's warriors. A lonely kid on an island of grown ups, she wishes things were different, and poof, she's sharing a room with a new sister. She doesn't know Diana. Now the two must adjust to, quote, the trials and joys of siblings, unquote. Be careful what you wish for, indeed. Nubia and the Amazons, Volume 1, number 1, Paradise Lost, and covered by Joshua Sway. These new comics start rolling out later this year, giving all who are intrigued time to prepare for their arrival. Are you among those anticipating, planning on picking any of these up? Leave a comment. So So if you're interested, you have a comment on what we just read. I'll give you a few seconds here before moving on to the next um, article. All right, so apparently there's nothing more on that from you guys, so we'll move on to last comics article of the night. Let's see where are we at, like just past 36-minute mark. Okay. All right, so here's another DC. DC's really featured tonight. Um, After DC Comics makes Superman gay, a brand new superhero universe aims to be ascendant. So what I'm guessing there is it basically means that DC is looking to completely revamp the mainstream DC universe. I'm guessing they're going to try to make the mainstream DC universe as woke as they possibly can, thinking that will sell books. Anyway, an article by John F. Trent published earlier today. The newly released superhero RPG Ascendant recently topped the best-selling charts at popular RPG website Drive Through RPG, and they look to follow up that success as they launch a crowd-funded campaign on Indiegogo for their graphic novel, Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron. Back in January, Ascendant soared to the top of the Drive-Through RPG's bestsellers list, becoming the number one selling game on the website, beating out an officially licensed The Lord of the Rings title, The One Ring Core Rules. According to a press release from Ascendant Comics, the RPG stayed on the bestseller list for 12 weeks. I guess this is the chart right here. Try to do RPG. Following up on that success, Ascendant Comics launched an Indiegogo campaign for their 96-page graphic novel titled Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron. According to the press release, the book tells the origin story of the first generation of superheroes and supervillains. Let's see if you guys are saying anything. I guess you're still not saying anything. Okay, fine. Oh, you're listening, so this new superhero universe comes after years of Marvel and DC Comics writers and artists berating readers and fans both in and outside of the comics. The most recent insult to readers was the announcement that they would be replacing Clark Kent with his son Jonathan, making him Superman, making him Superman. They then effectively turned Superman gay in Superman Son of Kal-El #5. Not only did they make Superman gay, but they also radically altered Superman's famous catchphrase, truth, justice, and the American way, which, of course, we were talking about with Gabe earlier, Gabe Eltabe. DC Comics decided to toss this phrase out the window and replace it with truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. With DC Comics in decline and their own editorial and creative teams self sabotaging the company, now's the best time to challenge their superhero supremacy, and Ascendant aims to do that with Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron. So Ascendant's actually a different universe altogether, not even associated with anything involved with DC. That's interesting. And of course, we know more of this because DC got moved out of their prime real estate. And I know another thing that was talked about by Tug today. They continued that, and then they got moved again apparently on with a hot desk model, from what I understand. Creator Alexander McCree um, revealed what the book's about. Quote, in Star Spangled Squadron, we are telling not just the origin story of two iconic characters, not just the origin story of the squadron, but the origin of the setting itself. Wow! So they're like built. They're basically trying to build a superhero universe, right from jump. Now there was a time there was a organization in the DCU called All Star Squadron that was which had all the superheroes active during the Golden Age in it, or just about all of them. Um, anyway, quote: "It's day zero for the Ascendant universe, and readers will witness the first ascension of the modern era, the first battle between superhero and supervillain, and the first conflict between rival teams." Unquote. He added. From Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron. The official description for the book states, quote, when firefighter Bill Goddard raced into a blazing building to rescue trapped children, he expected to die. Instead, he became something more than human, a nation's first ascendant. Now known as American Eagle, Bill must assemble a team of other ascended heroes to defend the country from villainous forces intent on wreaking chaos and destruction. It concludes, quote, but the process of ascension is fraught with peril, and not everyone emerges with their mind and morality unscathed. In America's hour of need, who will answer the call? And can they do what it takes to protect the nation without sacrificing the values they sworn to uphold? Find out in Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron, Heroes Must Ascend. Wow, sounds like a very interesting comic. Something that people should want to get into there. Or a graphic novel, as it were, yes. Oh, we have a third person. Hello, third person. And if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Likes and shares, of course, are always appreciated. So, anyways, as we continue on with the article here, the graphic novel will feature interior artwork by Meljoy San Juan and colors by J. David Ramos and Rovel Humo. The crowdfunding campaign will also feature 3 different variant covers by Will Conrad, Jinky Coronado, and Meljoy San Juan. There is also a cosplay cover featuring model Elisa Albrich as Stiletto. Macri described the aesthetic of the book, saying, quote, to bring the universe to life, our art team fused the iconic heroism of the Silver Age with the heavy metal art of the Iron Age to create a unique aesthetic we call Iridium Age, quote unquote. Very, very interesting. Quote, it's heroic, it's philosophical, it's sexy, it's violent. Imagine if Christopher Reeve's Superman and Pamela Anderson's Barbed Wire teamed up to fight Nietzsche, unquote, he declared. That might be interesting. Excuse me a moment, folks. I gotta go check on Chloe. Apparently, she seems to be acting up again. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and of course, as I'm reading these articles, of course, feel free to comment as if anything pops of interest to you. Anyways, getting back to the article here, alongside the graphic novel and its various variant covers, the Indiegogo campaign also features a set of trading cards, a bundle that includes both the RPG rule set book as well as a graphic novel, and a number of bundled options for collectors and comic book shops. The campaign has currently raised $22,810 from 44 backers. You plan on backing the Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron? Does sound like a very interesting story there. That I will say that much. Anyways, as we now prepare to move on to the next story here, see, we're at the 49-minute mark, so that's not too bad there. Making decent time here. We'll get ready to move on. So this will be the lone anime story, of course, we're going to touch upon tonight. This originally was reported by, I know Yellow Flash did a video on this particular article this morning. Of course, an article came out from ANN last night. This is a kind of a follow up to the Damon Mills story, and so now it would appear that the accuser has since rescinded or recanted his accusation. So, man who claimed Dragon Ball dub voice actor Damon Mills molested him rescinds accusations. Article by Spencer McCooley, published March 15, 2022. Now, mind you, remember when after the young man did make the initial accusations, it was reported that Damon did lawyer up and threatened to sue him if he didn't retract his statement. He did. He basically sent out a cease and desist order. So let's get into this and see what's all being said about this. Just days after his statement gained widespread attention across the internet, the anonymous man who claimed Evangelion Rebuild and Dragon Ball dub voice actor David Mills molested him when he was just 15 years old, has fully retracted his initial accusation. Now, mind you, what we also know is there was a Google document that was up that is now gone. As many people, Damon's trying to silence this guy. We know that that they're trying to bury this, but the only thing is that you can't bury this. Even Damon himself admitted that this stuff happened. He just claimed that it was consensual. Um, so, of course, it's a Frieza voice actor from Dragon Ball, a Mill Anime Adventures YouTuber. Okay, the accusations against Mills was first brought to light when the alleged victim, the anonymous man whose identity remains publicly unknown, published a lengthy statement via a now deleted Google Doc. Yeah, but I would think somebody would have archived that somewhere. I don't know, but are we sure that it is completely deleted, or did somebody actually archive that? So that'd be interesting to see. In October 2021, as per the Google Docs document details, that began with the outright declaration that quote unquote Damon Mills molested me. Um, in quotes here, this all happened between 2012 and 2015. Originally, they were saying it was 2014 to 2015, but explained the accuser. Quote, I was never 18 during any of this. I was a 15-year-old boy, a minor. Damon, a 19-year-old adult. Um, okay, 19 now 15 now in the state of Ohio, just to remind everybody, in the state of Ohio, the age of consent is 16. Okay. So, which you know now what however you feel about that, about whether or not the age of consent should be or not 16 at for that, that's something everybody's going to have to wrestle with themselves. But the fact is that in the state of Ohio, the the age of consent is 16. Okay. So according to the man, over the course of his year long friendship with Mills, the voice actor had regularly engaged in non consensual sexual activity with him while he slept, including by quote unquote caressing his bare body, quote, prodding his genitalia through my shorts, unquote, and even pleasuring right next to me, unquote. And yes, I'm changing some of the words around because I'm sure people don't necessarily want to hear those specific words. Just got off my after show. Hey, RJ, you're just in time. I'm covering the Damon. I actually covered some comic articles already, including, you know, articles in regards to Gabe LT, but right now we just started going through the Bounding in the Comic article on the guy who rescinded his accusations against Damon Mills. So um, again, so let's see. Okay, and then where are we? Okay. At the conclusion of, and thank you by the way for the like and share, RJ. That's appreciated. Um, at the conclusion of his lengthy statement, the accuser ultimately asserted, quote, there is a lot more to this story, and several things I did not mention. The point of this is to bring awareness to sexual abuse. I was underage the entire time we were friends, and he was a grown adult. Um, again, depending upon how you feel about the law, um, actually, once he turned 16, he was he was actually of legal age. And, that's something, again, that's the law of the state of Ohio. So, anyway, I gotta go deal with Chloe again. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back now. And always, guys, of course, if there's anything in here that you want to comment on, feel free to comment on it. Always encourage conversation here. Okay, now, in quote here, I do not wish to press legal charges as a way to condemn my anonymity, unquote, he added. Quote, however, I just want my voice to be heard, and maybe others who are afraid to speak up. As for Damon, I hope that this has at some point been a learning curve for him and that he has never treated anyone else in these ways. Unquote. Now, from what I guess Yellow Flash found some stuff, and I think Yellow Flash and Tug found some stuff where apparently he he may have he may have had some other comments on there um, that could have also gotten him in trouble. So, um, in response to these accusations, Mills reportedly sent the accuser a cease and desist letter on February 18th, not only arguing that the relationship was mutual and consensual. So, right there, Damon admits that the stuff did happen. He just said it was consensual, though, which opens up a whole nother ball of worms there, as it were. Um, but also demanding that the man agree to retract his accusations by February 25th and refrain from any further contact with Mill's employers. Well, okay, the thing is that the damage is done now. The damage is done now because the guy put it out there. And a lot of us have been talking about it. I've been talking about it. Yellow Flash been talking about it. Um, you know, Tugs talked about it. A lot of people are more talking about the hypocrisy of it. The fact that Damon, you know, when everybody was dogpiling on Vic, they were all like, Yeah, we need to cancel him. He can't be at conventions. We got to keep him away from kids. He's a creep. He's this. He's that. Based on what we know of what Vic apparently did, it pales in comparison to what Damon did here. Okay, I know people will argue that Damon initiated the contact here with when the kid was 15, when he was in fact underage. But at least according to a lot of the material, a lot of the things that we've been reading, though, it happened after. Damon did not maybe act on it until after the kid came of age in Ohio. Ohio again being age of consent 16 there. So, um, but if he assaulted him, if he forced himself on the young man, then age of consent is nullified anyways, because you know if this was done consensually, then nobody can really say. I don't think anybody can really say anything. But the accusations would indicate that Damon kind of forced himself on this kid, on this young man. So that's kind of where the thing is. But let's see now. Again, though, the damage is done because it's out there. Everybody now knows what's going on. So obviously, and as Flash reported, as a lot of people are talking about, this retraction is rescinding of these accusations, this retraction of these accusations. It's not going to help because there's even if you take the element out of it that okay, the kid's not saying that it's not that he wasn't assaulted, but Damon himself has admitted that this stuff happened. It was just consensual. Different ball of wax there. And then people would still argue that since Damon initiated the contact with the young man while he was 15, while he was underage, therefore he was still acting like a predator. So, and anyways, trying to move along here with all that. Ostensibly refusing to Mills' terms, the man then proceeded to speak with Anime News Network, whose executive editor, Lindsay Loveridge, would go on to publish a piece on March 8th featuring further details and evidence regarding the supposed situation, such as Facebook and mobile phone text messages as provided by both the accuser and a friend. And we've, of course, seen a lot of that stuff. You've seen a lot of that stuff. Reached for comment at the time by A&N, Mills told the news outlet that he has retained legal counsel and had been advised to refrain from publicly commenting on the situation. Basically, trying to preserve evidence is what they were trying to do. However, on March 13th, which was this past Sunday, the accuser once again reached out to Loveridge, only this time with the intention of fully retracting his initial claims. Quote, at this time, I wish to permanently retract my statements and allegations regarding Damon Mills, unquote, he told the reporter. Now, even Yellow Flash argued that this statement sounded like sounded kind of like it was tailored for him. Somebody wrote this for him. This isn't him. I think he did finally feel pressured enough to back off. But the thing is that you know The damage is already done. And there are people out there, now granted, does that mean that we should go and harass Damon Mills or his family or his friends or anything like that? No. Okay? You should not do that. Do not go and harass Damon Mills over this. Do not harass Funimation voice actors over it. Don't harass Funimation themselves. Of course, Funimation, as we know, is being, don't harass Crunchyroll or Sony over this either. You know, but there are going to be people who probably will, if they cross paths with them, they might challenge him on it. Hey, why did you do this to Vic? But now that you're the one who's in the hot seat, why doesn't it apply to you? And I know everybody's been talking about how one, males can't be victims, and also Damon Mills himself is using the fact that he's gay as a shield. It's like, oh, I'm gay, so I can do no wrong because I'm gay. Because if you call me out on my bad behavior, then you're homophobic. That's one of the other big arguments going against him. Um, so as I was saying though, even Yellow Flash was talking about how this seemed a little like it was prepared for him. Quote, I wish to apologize for potential harm I have caused anyone involved with or affected by this incident. A little too late for that. It's out there now. Even if you do retract the statement, you have a lot of people who are going to still be calling him out for the behavior. Okay, even if in retracting the statement, the kid is acknowledging that the young man is acknowledging that the situation may have been consensual at this point. Um, the fact is that Damon still initiated the contact with him when he was underage. So that part of it's not going away. Even if he didn't do anything physically till after he did become age of consent, he initiated the contact while the kid was still legally, you know, was legally not legally barred from giving consent. Thank you for your understanding, unquote. What do you make of the anonymous man dropping his accusations of sexual misconduct against Mills? Yeah, I think a lot of people believe that he was bullied into doing that. He was pressured into it. He was kind of like, you know, and I know a lot of, and I did see a notification I got earlier that even Toy Bounty Hunters is also talking a little bit about it as well. So, but yeah, the situation being that the situation being that that it's a very complex issue in this. But what it comes down to in this specific case is that you know Damon approached him when he was still under the age of consent. Therefore, he was legally off limits, you know, to him. Should not have been doing it at that point. Um, so did so you have to leave it to your opinions. Was Damon Mills acting predatory towards this kid? I think most people believe he was. You know, it does seem that way here. And once he's been caught, in fact, I know Flash when he was talking about it on his video earlier, um, He's even calling Damon Mills a Harvey Weinstein of the anime dub community. Now, mind you, I know Flash and Tug probably have very harsh words for the anime dub voice acting community as a whole, but not all of them were involved. Not, granted, a lot of the ones that we've heard a lot about particularly a lot of the ones that we've been hearing about through Funimation, we know the kind of people this little cadre of individuals are: Damon Mills, Monica Rial, Jamie Markey, Chris Sabat, Sean Schemmel, Josh Martin, Chris Rager. We know the kind of people these are, and then of course some of the LA voice actors, like a couple of them, like Manda Win Lee and DC Douglas. Okay, not now, mind you, not all voice actors are like this. It's only a few, but of course, as you know, as the saying goes, sometimes one bad apple spoils a bunch, right? In this case, you got a few bad apples. Was okay to dogpile on Vic, because his victims were young women. He's a white conservative Christian, so it's okay to dump on him. It's okay to cancel him, in their opinion, their view. But Damon, who basically did worse than what Vic. Vic, it was all like, hugging and kissing. Hugging fans, kissing them on the cheek or the forehead. Nothing really outright, wrong there. He gets canceled. And Damon was on that same bandwagon that railroaded Vic. And yet he's not being held to the same standards that he was preaching for Vic. And he did a lot worse. Okay? At least with Illick, I've talked about this guy before too, Illick Guardiola, who was arrested, this is a voice actor who was actually arrested for messing around with a 16-year-old. Now in Texas, again, that's still slightly under the age of consent. But at least the dude went out and married the girl, and to this day is still married to her. So can you really condemn him for that? I wouldn't say so. I think he did take responsibility there. But Damon, but the thing is, the retraction, it's not going to help because everybody knows about it now. Him retracting the statement really didn't help because you have a lot of us commentators out here who are going to still be calling Damon out on it. Okay? Even if by the time he actually did something to him, he was age of consent. He initially went after him while he was not age of consent. And it's also well believed that this young man was bullied into backing down. Now, I kind of suspected that might happen only because the kid did say he wasn't going to, he didn't want to press charges. I think he should have. If Damon actually did this to him, he probably should have. But that's a choice that he has to make for himself, and that's a choice he has to live with. I mean, I can go deeper into all this, but I don't think anybody wants to have this conversation. So now let me move on to the last main story of the night here. And that one's kind of a quick follow-up to the Scott Hall story. Everybody knows Scott did actually pass away yesterday. Earlier in yesterday's show, I was saying that at least as far as I knew, they did say he was after he's taken off his life, so he initially was recovering, but then Leto and Toys did tell me that, or it was Leto who actually told me that Scott, it was confirmed that Scott did pass away. Now, for those, as a quick reminder, what happened about a week or so ago, Scott Hall took a fall in his home, broke his hip, went to the hospital to have surgery. Due to complications of from the surgery, a blood clot escaped, and he ended up having 3 heart attacks. Um, he was put on life support on Sunday. Then it was reported yesterday on Kevin Nash's Instagram that that as soon as his family got there, he'd be taken off life support. Initially, it seemed like he might have started to come back, but then I guess as time wore on, he passed away. Um, Quick synopsis, of course, um, of his career. Started out in the mid 80s, 84, 85. I think he was actually involved in a Great American Bash match with Dan Spivey as the American Express. They were known as American Coyote and American Eagle. Then he moved on to the AWA, where one point he won the AWA World Tag Team Championship with Kurt Hennig. Then from there went to had a very brief run in Jim Crockett Promotions, what would eventually become WCW. Um, and it was still going under NWA name at that time, of course. Um, then 91 he wrestled in Puerto Rico for a while. Then by 91, 91, 92, 91 into 92 for about a year he was back in WCW as the Diamond Stud under the management of DDP, who in later years, of course, helped him beat the addiction, helped him get sober up to his addictions to alcohol and drugs. So, or at least alcohol. Um, then from 92 to 96, he went to the WWF where he was Razor Ramon. During that initial run, of course, won the Intercontinental title 4 times. Had a very memorable ladder match with Shawn Michaels at one point. Then in 96, moved on to WCW with Kevin Nash, where they went in as the Outsiders, established the heel faction, the NWO. Had, after, by 2000, 2001, he had gone on the independent scene, came back briefly, I think, in 2003 during, when they were redoing the NWA angle in WE, but throughout much of the latter part of the 2000s, wrestled for TNA Impact, and then 2014 came back to the WWE for his Hall of Fame induction, and they did some work there, and then and so that's pretty much it. And we already did a moment of silence for him yesterday when we were talking. So anyway, so that's pretty much it for. That's pretty much it. If you guys have anything you'd like to add to the conversation, um, feel free to do so. If there's anything you guys would like to add to the conversation, if you guys are still here. I know Toys is likely lurking, but anyways. All right. Well, with that, then I guess that. Well, let's see. Let me review here. 52. Give people a few moments here to see if anybody wants to talk about anything or ask anything. If not, then I guess we can start to wrap up here. Is there anything you guys want to add or say about any of the stuff we talked about tonight? Any memory, like much of the day today, saw many of Scott Hall's, you know, friends and fellow wrestlers chiming in their thoughts and giving their, expressing their feelings on like Twitter and their Instagrams and all that. Um, we had a couple minutes here to see if anybody wants to say anything. All right. Well, with that, then I guess it would be a good time to start winding down. Unless of course you guys have any, give it one last moment here because I just saw another. See if anybody wants to say anything before we close up here on anything we talked about tonight. All right. Well, as that would be the case, I guess then it's time to start winding down. We'll probably so today being Tuesday, March the 15th, 2022. Let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History. All right. So, without any further ado, let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. And our first stop, we're going to head back 60 years ago today. As on this date, 60 years ago today, the 130th issue of Sad Sack from Harvey Comics went on sale on this date back in 1962. It was, now, by this point, comics had gone from a dime to 12 cents. It's 30 and 32 pages. So you see the little Harvey Tunes moniker or Harvey Comics moniker or little thing up in the left hand corner there. So on this date in 1962, Sad Sack number 130 went on sale on this date for 12 cents on newsstands. So with that, moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history. On this date in 1997, the Gynax produced Neon Genesis Evangelion Death and Rebirth movie. The Evangelion Death and Rebirth movie was released in Japanese theaters on this date in 19. So 25 years ago today, Neon Genesis Evangelion Death and Rebirth was released on this date in 1997, 25 years ago. So there we go with that one. And then last but not least, on this date 20 years ago today, from Blue Sky Studios, well, 20th Century Fox Animation, the animated movie Ice Age premiered on this. The 2002 film Ice Age premiered on this date back in 2002. So 20 years ago today, 2002 animated film Ice Age premiered on this date back in 2002, 20 years ago today. So with that, we will start to wrap up here. As a reminder to everybody that this Friday, of course, Bat Goat will be with me as we will be looking at, we'll be continuing our coverage of November 1938 comics that went on sale from Centaur and Fiction House. Hopefully, you guys will be there. Hopefully, you guys will be back here tomorrow night for more niche news and niche news and for more niche news and coverage there. Um, Honestly, Grant, you would think that with that, a lot of people I think would think that with that retraction, that story is gonna probably they're gonna Damon and people who are supporting him are gonna try to bury that story as deep as they can, but I don't think it's going to go away that easily. So be on the lookout for that. Anyways, guys, I thank you guys for being here tonight. And I look forward to being back here tomorrow. Seeing everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.